This particular Musings on Atheism video is meant to be informative and instructive. I realize the title is a bit provocative, but it's not meant to be insulting in any way, shape, or form. It's meant to allow the atheist to see through the Christian's eyes regarding his argument and why he, in his argument, is actually giving proof for the truth of the Scriptures. He is, in his argument, a living evidence. I like listening to debates, and in many of the messages you have sent to me in reply to my videos, usually the argument goes something like this. I don't need God to be moral. I'm a good person. I give to the poor and a lot of charitable foundations. I don't cheat. I don't steal. I'm a benefit to mankind and to society. And I do so for my own reasons. I do so because I want to, and not out of fear that some God is going to squish me or send me to hell. I'm a good person because I want to be. As the advertisement says, I'm good for goodness sake. Now I hear that argument all the time. In my personal encounters with atheists, particularly in the Dan Barker versus Doug Wilson debate done some years ago, which I've listened to maybe 10 or 15 times. And as the title says, when the atheist makes that argument, and I'm going to expand upon this later, he sounds like a criminal who is unknowingly confessing his guilt. Now, what do I mean by that? Romans 1:18 through 32 describes or lays down charges upon mankind. They have forsaken their Creator for their own way, and in so doing, you see the downfall of society. But it starts with a simple rejection of their Creator. In John 3, it's either John 1 or John 3, Jesus says that this is the verdict, that men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. The high court of heaven has laid down charges upon mankind, criminal charges, in rebelling against his Creator and his law. In Genesis 3, Satan presents an alternative to God. Adam and Eve were created in God's image. God created all things for himself, for his pleasure. He defines everything. And by the mere fact that he defines everything, that everything's created for him, is not going to make much sense without him, which I proved in Why Be an Atheist Parts 1 and 2. Life and existence will be useless and meaningless without him. But Adam and Eve were created for him. He defined their morality, their meaning, their existence, everything. God was the very foundation for them. And along comes Satan in Genesis 3 and presents an alternative. He tells Eve that in the day she eats the fruit, she'll be like God, knowing good and evil. And in the next verse, Eve sees the fruit as giving her the ability to make her wise. Now I ask you, what kind of wisdom is being talked about here? Remember, if they choose this, it's a rejection of everything their Creator has made them for and has told them. This wisdom is a wisdom where they define themselves. It is a wisdom apart from their Creator, apart from God. This means when they pursue their origins, when they pursue morality, when they pursue science, they do so apart from God. All of their existence, all of their meaning, when they seek those big answers, philosophical questions, they do so apart from God, as He has revealed Himself. Think about that for a minute. Think about the atheists and their arguments. I remember watching a video a few weeks ago, and the atheist was arguing that in the past, really before science, they would turn to deities to explain the world around them, because they didn't really know any better. But now we have science and the age of technology, and we don't really need that anymore, since science is so rapidly progressing and explaining the world around us. Without realizing it, the atheist is actually agreeing with Scripture about himself. The crime of Scripture is that mankind, created by God and for God, rejects His Creator and all the good things His Creator has done for him, betrays Him, rebels like a nation would do against a king to overthrow their king. They rebel against God. It is criminal. And His arguments evidence this. Without realizing it, the atheist is evidence of the truth of Scripture, and so are his arguments. As I said in my last video, no matter how much the atheist dislikes it, he cannot suppress the knowledge of God. It will be a lifelong pursuit, but he cannot suppress the knowledge of God. He can keep suppressing, he can keep turning it, he can keep trying to throw out all the evidence. But he's just not going to be able to live out his worldview consistently, because he bears the image of God. It is a tragedy, but we see this in the slow death of Christopher Hitchens and his fighting cancer. Cancer's terrible. I have a family member who's dying of it, and it's an awful disease. And his pursuit of meaning apart from God is sad. And he is evidencing his guilt, and he doesn't know it. If you have any questions, you can message me. Thank you.